The world is shouting, and you just want a moment of quiet. Your phone buzzes with another demand. The news cycle spins with fresh anxieties, and the pressure to perform never seems to let up. This constant noise can leave you feeling reactive, scattered, and powerless. But what if the most potent form of strength was not in adding to the noise, but in cultivating a profound inner silence? The ancient philosophy of Stoicism calls this silent power an unshakable calm that allows you to lead your own life with unwavering authority, no matter how chaotic the world becomes. By the end of this journey, you will possess 25 specific mental tools, Stoic Affirmations, to build this power within yourself. We will uncover how some of history's greatest leaders remained composed in the face of chaos and what it truly means to command a room without saying a word. What does leading with quiet strength look like in your own life? This is where your silent power truly begins. The foundational stone of Stoic philosophy is a simple but radical idea. You do not control the events that happen to you, but you always, without exception, control your perception of them. Everything you encounter in life, from a traffic jam to a critical comment, is neutral in itself. It carries no inherent emotional charge. That power to label an event as good or bad, as a catastrophe or an opportunity, rests entirely within your own mind. This is the essence of our first affirmation. I control my perceptions, not external events. Think of the last time you received harsh criticism at work. The immediate, raw reaction might feel like a personal attack, a threat to your competence and value. Your heart races, your face flushes, and the noise of your own indignation drowns out everything else. This is the moment to invoke your silent power. Instead of letting that initial judgment take the wheel, you pause. You create a space of silence between the event and your reaction. In that quiet space, you can examine the criticism not as an attack but as raw data. You can ask yourself, is there any truth here I can use to improve? Is this person having a bad day, or is this simply an opinion I can respectfully discard? By shifting your perception, you disarm the event of its power to cause you suffering. You transform a potential conflict into a moment of learning, or at the very least, a moment of calm neutrality. Visualize a person standing still on a bustling city sidewalk, a river of frantic energy flowing around them. They are not moved by the shoving or the noise because their focus is internal, anchored in the understanding that the chaos outside cannot dictate the peace within. That is the silent power of controlled perception. It is the decision to write the meaning of your own story, rather than letting the world scribble in the margins. This mental rehearsal is not mere daydreaming, it is a form of training for your mind. To build this skill, try this exercise right now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable and bring to mind a situation in the coming days that you are dreading, perhaps a difficult conversation or a high-stakes meeting. Do not just think about it abstractly, vividly picture the scene. See the room, hear the sounds, notice the expressions on people's faces. Feel the initial surge of stress in your body, that tightening in your chest. Now, in that imagined moment, pause, insert a deliberate space of silence, then consciously apply the affirmation. Remind yourself, I control my perceptions, not this event. Ask, what is the neutral data here? What story am I about to write onto this situation? Rehearse shifting your perception from threat to challenge, from personal attack to impersonal feedback. This mental practice is like creating a well-worn path in your brain, so when the real event occurs, your mind knows the route to calm. The neuroscience behind this is profound. Every time you consciously choose a calm, rational response over a reactive, emotional one, you are strengthening specific neural circuits. You are literally building thicker, more robust connections in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thought and emotional regulation. Simultaneously, you are weakening the amygdala's hair trigger response, the part that screams danger at the slightest provocation. This is not philosophical speculation, it is physiological change. You are sculpting a more resilient brain, one thought at a time. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius was a master of this very technique. He did not just write his meditations as abstract philosophy, he used them as mental rehearsals for the immense stresses of ruling an empire, leading armies, and facing constant political intrigue. Before entering the Senate or the battlefield, he would retreat into his own mind. He would vividly imagine the insults he might face, the betrayals, the chaos of war, and he would practice his Stoic principles in advance. He wrote reminders to himself about what was within his control and what was not, conditioning his mind to meet adversity not with panic but with a silent, unwavering resolve. He was not born with this calm. He built it through daily mental exercise, preparing his inner fortress so that no external storm could breach its walls. You are doing the same work he did, forging the same silent power from within. This inner fortress you are building has a name in Stoic tradition, the inner citadel. It is not a physical place, but a mental stronghold, an unassailable sanctuary of your core self. While the world outside may rage with chaos, criticism, and the unpredictable actions of others, the walls of this citadel remain impervious. Repeating the affirmation, "My inner citadel is unassailable," is the act of reinforcing these walls stone by stone, creating a psychological boundary that protects your peace and self-worth. This is not about building walls to hide from life, but about constructing a foundation so solid that you can engage with the world from a place of unshakable strength, not fragile reactivity. Think of encountering a toxic person, someone who thrives on drama and aims to provoke a reaction. Their words are like arrows shot at a fortress. If you are standing out in the open, unprotected, every arrow finds its mark, causing pain and anger. But from within your inner citadel, you can watch those very same arrows clatter harmlessly against the stone. You see the attack for what it is, the external noise of someone else's turmoil, and it simply cannot reach the quiet center of who you are. You remain unmoved, not because you are indifferent, but because you are rooted in the unassailable truth of your own value. An unfair accusation is another powerful test. The immediate, ego-driven impulse is to fight back, to defend, to prove them wrong with frantic energy. This reaction, however, often hands over your power to the accuser. They now control your emotional state, but when you retreat for a moment into your inner citadel, you regain that control. You can observe the accusation from a place of calm. You can ask yourself, does this change who I know myself to be? Is my self-worth truly dependent on this person's opinion? The answer you will find from within that stronghold is a resounding no. Your value is not up for debate, it is a fact you carry inside. This is the silent power of an unassailable mind. It allows you to respond or choose not to respond from a position of unshakable composure. Your calm in the face of someone trying to upset you becomes its own profound statement. It communicates a boundary without a single word being spoken. You are demonstrating that your emotional world is your own sovereign territory, and no one else is granted permission to govern it. This practice transforms you from a puppet whose strings are pulled by external events into the master of your own inner kingdom. This profound truth echoes across centuries, a quiet anchor in the storm of human experience. The third affirmation is a simple mantra for the soul: "This too shall pass, and I remain." It is the Stoic practice of contemplating impermanence, not as a bleak outlook, but as the ultimate source of your stability. Everything you experience, from your greatest joy to your deepest pain, is temporary. By anchoring yourself in this truth, you prevent any single emotion, however powerful, from defining your entire existence. Think of a time you felt ecstatically happy, perhaps after a major achievement. In that moment, it is easy to believe that this high will last forever, that you have finally arrived at a permanent state of bliss. But life, in its constant flow, inevitably brings change. The Stoics understood that clinging to that peak of happiness only sets you up for a harder fall when the feeling naturally subsides. This affirmation is not about diminishing your joy, but about savoring it without becoming dependent on it. You learn to hold it lightly, appreciating the sunshine without demanding that the clouds never return. The same principle applies to sorrow. In the depths of grief or frustration, the pain can feel absolute, as if it will never end. It colors your entire world, but remember the inner citadel you are building. Its foundation is this very understanding of impermanence. The storm of sadness, however fierce, is temporary. It will change form, it will lessen, it will pass, and through it all you remain. The core you, the silent observer within the citadel, is constant. This is the essence of what modern psychology calls emotional agility. It is the ability to experience your feelings fully without being held hostage by them. You acknowledge the sadness, you feel its weight, but you do not fuse your identity with it. You do not become the sadness itself. Instead, you see it as a weather pattern passing through the sky of your mind. You are the sky, vast and unchanging, not the transient storm. Visualize a time lapse of a bustling city. Watch as day shifts to night, as sunlight gives way to the glow of a million electric stars. See the seasons transform, summer leaves turning to fiery autumn hues, then surrendering to winter's bare branches, only to be reborn in the green of spring. The city itself remains, but every single condition within it is in a state of constant, beautiful flux. Your inner world is exactly like this. Thoughts, feelings, and external circumstances are the changing light and weather. Your silent, aware self is the enduring city. When you find yourself gripping too tightly to any single moment, repeat the words, "This too shall pass and I remain." Feel the immediate release of pressure, the gentle loosening of your mental grasp. You are not your triumph and you are not your failure. You are the resilient, continuous self that observes both with equanimity, knowing that each is merely a visitor in the grand story of your life. This is how you lead with silent power, by holding the reins of your own emotional state, guiding yourself through every season with a steady hand. Your self-worth is not stored in your bank account or your job title. This is the radical freedom offered by the fourth affirmation, a declaration that I am not my possessions or my status. The Stoics had a brilliant term for things like wealth, reputation, and social standing. They called them preferred indifference. This means that while it is perfectly natural to prefer having money to being broke, or a good reputation to a bad one, these things are ultimately indifferent to your core happiness and moral character. They are tools to be used well or poorly, not measures of your inherent value. Clinging to them as if they define you is like a smartphone believing its worth is determined by its case. A cracked, cheap case does not diminish the phone's processing power, just as a shiny, expensive one does not make it smarter. The core functions, your character, your integrity, your capacity for reason, remain entirely separate from the external accessories. When you internalize this, you experience a profound shift. You can pursue success without being enslaved by the fear of losing it. Your identity becomes rooted in something unshakable, something no market crash or negative review can ever take from you. To truly feel this freedom, try a brief mental exercise. Think of one possession or accolade you deeply value, something that feels tied to who you are. Now, in your mind, picture it being gone. The car is repossessed, the award is rescinded, the job title vanishes. Feel the initial clench of panic, that sense of loss. Then breathe into that space. Ask yourself, who am I without it? Is my capacity for kindness gone? Is my ability to learn, to laugh, to be a good friend suddenly erased? The answer is a liberating no. The person you are remains completely intact. This mental rehearsal is not about encouraging loss, but about immunizing yourself against the terror of it. It is about discovering that your true self was never in that object or title to begin with. It was always right here in the quiet center of your being, waiting for you to stop looking for it in the outside world. This detachment is the ultimate form of security because it is a security that cannot be lost. The strength of your inner citadel is not measured by the battles you win, but by the ones you wisely choose not to fight. This is the heart of our fifth affirmation. I choose my battles with wisdom, not emotion. This is the Stoic virtue of practical wisdom, or phronsis, the ability to discern the right action in any given moment. It is the mental gatekeeper that stands between an external trigger and your response, asking a simple but profound question: is this worth my energy? Is this within my control, and does engaging here align with my core values? Every day, you are presented with countless potential conflicts, from a rude comment online to a colleague taking credit for your work. The emotional, ego-driven reaction is to fight them all, to prove a point, to defend your territory, but this scatters your energy, leaving you drained and reactive. The Stoic way is to conserve that precious energy for the battles that truly matter. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus, born a slave, knew this intimately. He taught that we are not disturbed by events, but by the views we take of them. One story from his life perfectly illustrates this. A man began to insult Epictetus during a lecture, hurling profanities and personal attacks. The students expected their teacher to retort, to put the man in his place with superior logic. But Epictetus simply listened, his expression calm, and when the man was finished, he replied as if the insults had never been spoken. He later explained that engaging in that battle would have been like accepting a gift that was never offered. The man's anger and insults were his own possessions, his own burden to carry. By refusing to accept them, by refusing to play the game, Epictetus conserved his energy, maintained his dignity, and demonstrated a power far greater than any witty comeback: the power of choice. He assessed the situation with wisdom, saw that he could not control the man's words, and recognized that no virtuous purpose would be served by a heated exchange. His silence was not weakness, it was a strategic and powerful declaration of sovereignty over his own mind. You can apply this same filter to the conflicts in your own life. Before you type that angry email or launch into a defensive argument, pause. Create that space of silence, then ask the 3 Stoic questions. First, is this within my control? You cannot control the other person's opinion or behavior, only your response. Second, does engaging in this serve a virtuous purpose? Will it lead to understanding, improvement, or justice? Or is it merely to soothe your wounded pride? And third, is this the most effective use of my energy? Your focus and peace are finite resources. Investing them in a pointless argument is like pouring your finest wine into a cracked cup. Everything is wasted. Choosing your battles wisely is the ultimate expression of silent power. It means your actions are no longer dictated by every passing provocation. You move through the world not as a pinball, reacting to every bumper and flipper, but as a chess player, thinking several moves ahead and understanding that sometimes the most powerful move is to not move at all. This disciplined approach builds a reservoir of focused energy, ready to be deployed when a battle truly worthy of your spirit appears on the horizon. A grand monument may crumble, but a single act of integrity can echo for generations. Your legacy is not written in stone or on a resume. It is etched into the lives you touch through the strength of your character. This is the core of the 6th affirmation: my character is my true legacy. The Stoics held a radical belief that cuts against the grain of our modern world. They argued that the only true good is a virtuous character. Everything else, your wealth, your fame, your physical health, even the outcomes of your efforts, were classified as indifferent. They matter, but they do not define your moral worth. Your legacy, then, is not what you accomplish, but who you become in the process. It is the unwavering integrity you show when no one is watching, the honesty you uphold when a lie would be easier, and the kindness you extend even when it costs you something. Imagine two tombstones side by side. One is a massive, ornate marble structure covered in gold leaf and grand titles, a testament to immense worldly success. The other is a simple, weathered stone, its inscription nearly worn away by time. Yet around the simple stone, fresh flowers are always placed there by people whose lives were quietly improved by the person who rests below. The grandiose tomb is impressive but ultimately empty, a monument to a self that no longer exists. The simple stone, however, pulses with a quiet, enduring energy, a legacy of good character that continues to inspire and nurture long after the person is gone. Which legacy truly holds power? This affirmation reorients your entire life's purpose. It frees you from the exhausting chase for external validation and redirects your energy inward. Your primary goal is no longer to be successful but to be good. And from that goodness, right action naturally follows. Think about a difficult decision you are facing right now, a choice where the easy path conflicts with the right path. The path of comfort might promise a temporary reward, but it chips away at your character. The virtuous path, the one that demands honesty or courage, strengthens your inner foundation. Every time you choose virtue, you are adding another solid stone to your legacy, building something that no failure or criticism can ever dismantle. Your character becomes the one possession you can never lose, the only thing that is truly, completely yours. When you internalize that your character is your legacy, your daily interactions transform. You are no longer performing for an audience, you are crafting your masterpiece with every single choice. That impatient thought you choose not to voice, that small favor you do without expectation of return, that truth you tell when a deception would be more convenient, these are the quiet, powerful strokes of the brush on the canvas of your life. This is the ultimate silent power, a strength that needs no trumpet fanfare because its impact is felt in the peace it brings you and the light it offers to others. A project deadline is missed, the client is furious, and the entire initiative collapses into dust. In that moment of failure, the world tells you a story of defeat, of incompetence, of a permanent stain on your record. But the Stoic mind hears a different story entirely, one where this very collapse is the raw material for building a stronger self. This is the essence of our seventh affirmation: I welcome obstacles as opportunities for growth. The ancient Stoics called this principle the obstacle is the way, a profound reframing that transforms every barrier into the very path forward. A problem is no longer a dead end, but a training ground for virtues like courage, resilience, and practical wisdom. Think of that failed project not as a final verdict, but as a live fire exercise for your character. The initial sting of disappointment is your chance to practice emotional regulation, to acknowledge the feeling without letting it dictate your next move. The difficult post-mortem meeting becomes a training session in humility and open-mindedness, where you listen for the hard truths that will make you better. The need to pick up the pieces and start again is a masterclass in perseverance. Every single aspect of the obstacle is secretly an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you were before it happened. Your body has a direct line to this mindset. When you perceive a setback as a catastrophic threat, your brain sounds the alarm, flooding your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, and your thinking narrows to a frantic tunnel vision focused solely on survival. This is the physiology of being under siege. But when you consciously reframe that same obstacle as a challenge, as an opportunity for growth, something remarkable happens. The brain's threat response dials down. You begin to secrete different neurochemicals like dopamine and norepinephrine, which are associated with focus, motivation, and learning. Your body shifts from a state of defensive panic to one of engaged readiness. You are not running from a predator, you are preparing for a workout. This is not just positive thinking, it is a biological recalibration that allows you to access your full cognitive resources, to see creative solutions and enduring lessons where before you could only see ruin. The obstacle has not changed, but your perception of it has, and in doing so, you have changed your entire physiological reality, turning stress into fuel for your silent power. Silence is not an empty space, it is a powerful choice. After choosing your battles with wisdom, the next natural step is to master the words you do choose to release into the world. This brings us to the 8th affirmation, a vow of profound personal discipline. I speak only what is necessary, true, and kind. Think of this not as a restriction on your freedom, but as a triple filter that purifies your communication and amplifies your silent power. Every word that passes this 3-part test carries immense weight and integrity, while everything else is recognized as mere noise, best left unspoken. The first filter is necessity. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this absolutely necessary? This single question instantly eliminates the vast majority of gossip, complaints, and unsolicited opinions that clutter our daily interactions. Gossip, in particular, is a subtle poison. It might feel like a harmless social bond, but it erodes trust and scatters your mental energy on dramas that are not your own. By refusing to participate, you conserve your focus for what truly matters. Your silence on such matters becomes a statement of your priorities. The second filter is truth. This goes beyond simply not lying. It means ensuring that what you are about to say is accurate to the best of your knowledge, and that it is not an exaggeration born of emotion. Speaking the truth, especially when it is difficult, builds an unshakable foundation of trust around you. People learn that your word is your bond, that they can rely on you for an honest perspective. This reliability is a cornerstone of silent power, creating a sphere of influence built on respect rather than fear. The third and final filter is kindness. This is the delivery system for your necessary truths. Ask yourself, is what I am about to say kind? Is it constructive? A harsh truth blurted out without tact can do more damage than a lie. Kindness is not about being soft, it is about being effective. It is the wisdom to understand that your goal is not to win an argument, but to communicate in a way that the other person can actually hear and absorb. When you wrap a necessary truth in kindness, you maintain harmony and open the door to genuine understanding, rather than creating defensiveness and conflict. To truly feel the transformative effect of this affirmation, I invite you to a 24-hour challenge. For one full day, from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep, commit to applying this triple filter to every single thing you say, whether in person, in a text message, or in a comment online. Before you speak, pause and run your words through the 3 gates. Is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? If your intended statement fails any one of these tests, you simply choose silence. You will be astonished at how much you normally say that does not pass this rigorous examination. At first, you may find yourself speaking very little. This is not a failure, it is the point. You are creating space, clearing out the verbal clutter to make room for more mindful communication. Pay close attention to the internal shift. You will feel a growing sense of mental peace as you are no longer expending energy on pointless debates or emotional reactions. Notice the external shift as well. People will begin to respond to you differently. When you do speak, they will listen more intently because they have learned that your words are not casual. They carry purpose and care. This practice cultivates a deep, resonant respect that is earned not by the volume of your voice, but by the quality of your silence and the precision of your speech. This is the silent power of eloquent restraint, where your quiet presence says more than 1,000 rushed words ever could. Your silent power grows not by building higher walls, but by recognizing that the walls were never really there to begin with. The 9th affirmation declares a profound shift in identity. I am a citizen of the world, connected to all. The ancient Stoics called this cosmopolitanism, a radical idea that we are all members of a single, global community, bound together by our shared capacity for reason. This is not a vague sentiment of peace and love, but a practical philosophy that systematically dismantles the us, versus them thinking that fuels so much conflict and isolation in our lives. When you see a stranger, whether they live next door or on the other side of the planet, you are not looking at an outsider. You are looking at a fellow citizen of the same vast human polis, a brother or sister in reason. This perspective instantly fosters a deep, natural empathy. Their joys become a little more meaningful, their sufferings a little more personal, because you recognize a fundamental connection that transcends nationality, politics, or creed. This directly counters the modern plague of tribalism, where we are algorithmically sorted into digital echo chambers that constantly reinforce our biases and demonize those who are different. Social media platforms are designed to make you feel part of a small, righteous tribe fighting against a world of fools, but the Stoic cosmopolitan sees this for the illusion it is. They understand that every person, even one they profoundly disagree with, is acting according to their own perception of what is right, however flawed that perception may be. This does not mean you condone harmful actions, but it allows you to approach conflict with a desire for understanding rather than annihilation. Your sense of responsibility expands. You begin to feel a quiet duty not just to your immediate circle, but to the entire human family. Your choices, from what you buy to how you vote to the kindness you show a stranger, are made with the awareness that you are contributing to the health of our shared community. Visualize the famous pale blue dot photograph of Earth taken from the edge of our solar system. Our planet is just a single, tiny speck of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Every human being who has ever lived, every empire that has risen and fallen, every war and every triumph has happened on that one fragile pixel. From this cosmic perspective, the divisions we fight over are revealed as utterly meaningless. We are all, quite literally, in this together, crew members on the same small ship sailing through the immense void. Embracing this identity is a supreme act of silent power. It frees you from the petty squabbles of tribal loyalty and allows you to operate from a place of universal goodwill. Your calm is no longer just for you, it becomes a quiet offering to the peace of the whole. Your peace is an heirloom passed down from your wisest self, a treasure far too valuable to ever pawn for a moment of applause. The 10th affirmation is a vow to protect this treasure at all costs, a declaration that my peace is not for sale. Every day, the marketplace of modern life makes you an offer. It tempts you to trade a sliver of your inner quiet for a hit of external validation. You feel the pull to say yes to a draining social obligation because you fear missing out, to compromise a deeply held boundary for a promotion, or to engage in a pointless online argument just to feel right. Each time you make that trade, you are handing over a piece of your serenity for a currency that instantly devalues. The temporary high of social approval or the fleeting thrill of winning an argument cannot possibly compensate for the loss of your foundational calm. The corrosive effect is subtle and cumulative, like a slow leak in a vast reservoir. You do not notice the drop in water level day by day, but after months of small compromises, you look inside and find your reserves of patience and perspective are nearly empty. You have bartered away your silent power for a collection of cheap trinkets, leaving you feeling hollow and reactive. Think of a family heirloom, a simple but ancient locket with no great monetary value, yet it is priceless because it holds the story of your ancestors. You would never dream of pawning it for a few dollars to buy a fleeting distraction. Your inner peace is that locket. It holds the accumulated wisdom of your experiences, your capacity for clear judgment, and your ability to navigate the world with grace. When you are tempted to trade it, ask yourself this question: am I willing to pawn my ancestral locket for this? Is this moment of being liked or being right or acquiring that one thing truly worth the permanent dent it will leave in my tranquility? This is not a call to withdraw from the world, but to engage with it on your own terms from a position of unassailable inner wealth. The person who knows their peace is not for sale carries themselves differently. They are not easily baited, flattered, or pressured because they are operating from a different economy altogether. one where the only real currency is virtue and the only real wealth is a quiet mind. This is the ultimate act of self-respect, a silent declaration that you are no longer available for the old auctions where your soul was once the prize. That subtle tension in your gut is your silent power waiting for its orders. Every single day, a constant stream of impulses tugs at your attention, demanding an immediate response. The phone buzzes and your hand twitches toward it. A colleague makes a snide remark and the sharp retort forms on your tongue. An advertisement flashes and a craving ignites. These are the moments that define the quality of your life, and the 11th affirmation is your anchor in that current. I act with purpose, not on impulse. This is the disciplined shift from being a reactor to being an actor in your own story, ensuring your every move is aligned with your core values and long-term vision, not hijacked by a fleeting emotion or outside pressure. Reactive behavior is like a leaf blown about by the wind, directionless and entirely at the mercy of external forces. Purposeful action, by contrast, is the hand on the tiller of a sailboat, using the very same wind to chart a deliberate course toward a chosen destination. The impulse to scroll through social media is the wind, but the purposeful choice to close the app and read a book instead is you steering your vessel toward your goal of deeper knowledge. The impulse to snap back at criticism is the wind, but the purposeful decision to listen calmly for a useful kernel of truth is you steering toward your value of wisdom. Your purpose acts as a compass, guiding you through the daily noise and ensuring your energy is invested, not just spent. To build this skill, the Stoics developed a powerful nightly ritual known as the evening review. This is not about guilt or self-punishment, but about calm, objective analysis. As your day winds down, find a few moments of quiet. Look back over the hours, not with judgment, but with the curious eye of a scientist studying data. Examine your key actions and reactions. When that difficult email arrived, did you fire off a heated reply, or did you pause and draft a measured response? When you had a free hour, did you mindlessly consume entertainment, or did you engage in something that nurtured your mind or body? For each action, gently ask yourself, was that driven by purpose or by impulse? Did it move me closer to the person I want to become, or was it merely a reflexive twitch to an external trigger? This practice does two profound things. First, it builds self-awareness, shining a light on your automatic patterns so you can see them clearly. You start to recognize your personal triggers, the specific situations that most easily pull you off course. Second, it serves as gentle, consistent training. By repeatedly asking the question, you are conditioning your mind to ask it in the moment, creating that crucial space between impulse and action. Over time, your default setting shifts from reactive to responsive, from being a passenger in your life to being its skilled navigator. A mistake admitted is not a crack in your foundation, but a door to a deeper level of wisdom. This is the quiet power of our 12th affirmation. I own my mistakes and learn from them. Stoicism frames fallibility not as a personal failing, but as the essential, universal condition of being human. To pretend otherwise is to live in a fragile fantasy, constantly defending an image of perfection that can be shattered by the slightest error. The moment you shift blame, make excuses, or hide a fault, you are not protecting your power, you are surrendering it. You hand the keys to your emotional state over to the very mistake you are trying to disown, allowing it to control you through shame and defensiveness. True strength lies in looking that error squarely in the eye and saying, "This was mine. I made this choice." The feeling that follows is not humiliation, but liberation. You have just reclaimed absolute authority over your own narrative. Imagine two leaders facing the same crisis, a failed project that cost their team dearly. The first leader calls a meeting and immediately begins listing external factors: an uncooperative client, a team member's lateness, an unforeseen market shift. With every excuse, you can feel their energy becoming more brittle, their voice tightening with the strain of maintaining a flawless facade. The team leaves the room demoralized and distrustful, sensing the lack of accountability at the top. Now picture the second leader. They stand before the team and say, "I made a critical error in judgment on the timeline. I did not listen to your concerns, and I take full responsibility for this outcome." The room falls silent, but it is a different kind of quiet. It is not the silence of fear, but of profound respect. In that moment, the leader is not weakened by their admission, they are fortified by it. Their honesty disarms the situation, builds unwavering trust, and creates a safe space for the entire team to learn and improve. This is the Stoic virtue of humility in action, the unshakable confidence that your worth is so secure it does not need to be protected by a lie. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, despite his immense power, constantly reminded himself of his own fallibility in his private journal. He wrote of the importance of accepting correction gladly and recognizing that even if you were alone in a mistake, you should still be your own gentle corrector. He understood that every mistake, fully owned, is a priceless piece of data about how to navigate the world more skillfully. It is a lesson paid for with experience, far more valuable than any theory. When you refuse to own an error, you are throwing that lesson away, dooming yourself to repeat the same pattern. But when you embrace it, you transform shame into a master teacher, and your character grows stronger, wiser, and more resilient with every single admission. Gratitude for the easy moments is simple, but for the difficult ones, it feels like a radical act. The 13th affirmation asks you to embrace this completely. I am grateful for both joy and challenge. This is not about pretending that pain does not hurt, but about recognizing that a life without any resistance is a life without any strength. The Stoics practiced a form of gratitude that was all-encompassing, a conscious choice to see every experience, especially the hardships, as a necessary part of your training. The very things that seem to oppose you are secretly your most effective teachers, sculpting your resilience and deepening your capacity for wisdom in ways that comfort never could. This mindset transforms you from a victim of circumstance into a grateful student of life itself, emotionally robust because you know that nothing can happen to you that you cannot learn from and use for your growth. To cultivate this deep, unshakable appreciation, the Stoics employed a powerful mental exercise known as negative visualization. This is the deliberate practice of imagining the loss of the people and things you hold most dear. It may sound counterintuitive, even morbid, but its purpose is not to invite sadness, but to banish taking anything for granted and to ignite a fierce, present-moment gratitude for what you have right now. Let us try this together. Find a quiet space and bring to mind someone you love deeply, a partner, a child, a close friend. Instead of just thinking of them, vividly imagine your life if they were suddenly gone. Picture the silence in your home where their laughter used to be. Feel the hollow space in your routines, the empty chair at the table. Allow yourself to touch that sense of loss, not to dwell in it, but to fully appreciate its weight. Now open your eyes or simply return your focus to the present. Notice what happens. The world seems sharper, more vivid. Your love for that person floods back, not as a mundane fact, but as a profound, breathtaking gift. The minor annoyance you felt with them yesterday evaporates, replaced by a deep, tender gratitude for their very existence. This exercise recalibrates your heart. It reminds you that everything is on loan, that every single day with your loved ones, with your health, with your simple comforts, is a temporary and precious gift. This practice makes your gratitude active and fierce rather than passive and assumed. It ensures you never need the shock of actual loss to realize what you had. You live with that awareness now, finding a hidden wellspring of thankfulness not only in the comforts of your life but in the challenges too, for they are the whetstone that sharpens your spirit and reminds you of your own incredible strength. Your mind is not a static fortress but a living, breathing ecosystem. The 14th affirmation reminds you of this every single morning, a simple vow that becomes your most important chore. My mind is a garden I tend daily. This garden is not a metaphor for idle beauty. It is a working plot where your thoughts are the seeds, your attention is the water, and your daily practices are the sunlight that determines what will flourish and what will wither. Left untended for even a short while, the weeds of worry, resentment, and irrational fear will inevitably take root, their aggressive roots choking out the more delicate, valuable plants of peace, clarity, and compassion. Your silent power depends entirely on your willingness to be the gardener, to walk the rows each day with a watchful eye and a gentle, deliberate hand. This daily tending involves 3 core practices that act as your essential tools. The first is meditation, your daily weeding session. In the quiet of the morning, you sit and observe the landscape of your mind. You do not fight the weeds, you simply notice them. There is the thorny vine of anxiety about that meeting. There is the prickly thistle of a past regret. By observing them without judgment, you are already pulling them out by the roots, robbing them of the energy they need to grow. You are not your thoughts, you are the gardener who notices them, and that simple shift in identity is the most powerful weed killer there is. The second tool is reading philosophy, which is like planting new, superior seeds. You are intentionally introducing robust, life-affirming ideas into your mental soil. Reading a passage from Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus is not an academic exercise. It is the act of sowing seeds of resilience, of perspective, of courage. You are selecting the very best genetic material for your mind's future growth, ensuring that when challenges arise, the thoughts that spring up are strong and useful, not weak and fearful. The third practice is mindful reflection, your daily pruning and training. Throughout your day, you pause to examine a specific thought or reaction. Why did that comment from a coworker bother me so much? Is this anger serving me, or is it a wild branch that needs to be cut back? This is how you shape the growth of your inner world, training your mind to grow in the direction of your values rather than sprawling in every direction dictated by external events. Visualize an elderly gardener at dawn moving slowly through their plot. They do not yank at the plants, they work with a patient, knowing touch. They know each one by name, they know which leaves to pinch back to encourage fuller growth, and they spot the first sign of blight before it can spread. This is the care you must give your own mind. Your daily meditation, reading, and reflection are not tasks on a checklist. They are the loving, disciplined attention of a cultivator who knows that the harvest of a peaceful life depends entirely on the quality of the daily work. Every moment you spend in this quiet cultivation is an investment in the silent power that allows you to face a noisy world not with fragility, but with deep, unshakable rootedness. Judgment is a tax your mind pays on every interaction. The 15th affirmation cuts this expense at its source, declaring, "I judge no one, for I do not know their whole story." This is the Stoic practice of deliberately suspending judgment, a radical act of mental conservation that frees up immense energy you have been wasting on sizing up everyone around you. Every time you label someone as rude, incompetent, or selfish, you are not just describing them, you are launching a small, draining internal drama. Your heart rate might increase slightly, your muscles may tense, and your mind begins composing a story about their character, a story based on the tiniest sliver of data. The Stoic asks a simple, humbling question: how could you possibly know? You have no access to the sleepless night they endured, the private grief they carry, the fears and insecurities that are whispering in their ear. Their action is a single, isolated page from a novel you have never read, and you are arrogantly writing the entire plot based on that one sentence. When a driver cuts you off in traffic, the immediate, judgmental story is that they are an entitled, aggressive person. This story triggers your anger. But what if the true story is that they are a panicked parent rushing to the hospital, their mind clouded with fear? The action is the same, but the meaning you assign to it and the emotional energy you expend is entirely different. By withholding judgment, you are not condoning the action. You are simply refusing to let a stranger's behavior, which you cannot control, dictate your inner state. You save your energy, you preserve your peace, and you open the door to compassion. This shift transforms your relationships. A colleague snaps at you in a meeting. The judgmental mind takes it personally, stores it as a grievance, and plans a countermove. The Stoic mind pauses and considers the unseen burdens. Perhaps they just received terrible news. Maybe they are under immense pressure from their own boss. This perspective does not excuse poor behavior, but it prevents you from absorbing its toxicity. You can respond to the action without attacking the person, maintaining your own dignity and calm while de-escalating the entire situation. Your silent power here is the power of emotional immunity, the ability to witness the chaos of others without being infected by it. You become a steady, non-reactive presence, and in that steadiness lies a profound and quiet strength that others cannot help but notice and respect. Anger is a fire that burns the hand of the one who holds it. The Stoics viewed it not as a righteous passion but as a temporary madness, a brief seizure of the rational mind that leaves you weaker and less capable than you were before. To meet another person's anger with your own is like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it. You only ensure the whole situation goes up in flames. This 16th affirmation, I meet anger with understanding, not more anger, is your pre-commitment to a far more powerful strategy, the strategy of a firefighter who arrives with water, not a torch. Understanding is that water, a cool, calm force that douses the flames and allows you to see the structure of the problem clearly, rather than just reacting to the heat. When someone directs their fury at you, the primal, emotional brain screams that this is a threat that must be met with equal or greater force. But the Stoic mind, trained in silent power, recognizes this as a critical test. The other person is not in control of their reason, they are in the grip of a passion. Your role in that moment is not to join them in their madness, but to become the anchor of sanity they have lost. This requires a deliberate cool-down technique, a three-step process to create space between the provocation and your response. First, delay your response. The ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca advised counting silently to yourself before speaking when angry. This simple act of pausing breaks the automatic cycle of stimulus and reaction. It is the mental equivalent of stepping back from a blazing building to assess the situation, rather than running blindly inside. Second, turn your attention to your breath. Take one deep, slow inhalation, feeling your lungs expand, and then a long, controlled exhalation. This is not just a relaxation trick, it is a physiological intervention. It signals your nervous system that this is not a life or death emergency, dialing down the cortisol and adrenaline that fuel the fight or flight response. It returns a measure of control from your reactive amygdala to your rational prefrontal cortex. Third, and most importantly, make a conscious effort to consider the other person's perspective. This is where understanding truly begins. Ask yourself, what pain or fear might be driving this outburst? Is this really about me, or am I just a convenient target for frustrations that have been building elsewhere? Perhaps they feel unheard, disrespected, or terrified of failing. Seeing the anger as a symptom of their internal suffering rather than a personal attack completely disarms it. Your calm in the face of their storm becomes a silent, powerful question. What is really hurting you? This approach does not mean you condone bad behavior or become a doormat. You can still set firm boundaries and address the issue at hand, but you do so from a position of unshakable composure. Your silent power lies in your refusal to be emotionally hijacked. You demonstrate that your inner state is not for sale, not even for the price of winning an argument. In that calm, you hold a mirror up to their chaos, and often that reflection is the only thing that can truly make them pause. You have been taught to measure your worth by a constantly shifting scale. Your value rises with every success and plummets with every failure, tied to your performance, your popularity, your possessions. This is the exhausting economy of conditional self-esteem, a market where your price fluctuates with the mood of the crowd. The 17th affirmation shatters this entire system, declaring that my worth is inherent and unchangeable. The Stoics argued that every human being possesses a spark of the divine, the capacity for reason and the potential for virtue. This is not something you earn, achieve, or build. It is your birthright, the very core of what it means to be human. Your worth is not a fluctuating stock price. It is the ground upon which the stock market is built, the fundamental, unchangeable reality that exists regardless of what is constructed upon it. Think of a newborn child. They have accomplished nothing, own nothing, and hold no social status. Yet their inherent worth is undeniable, a quiet, powerful presence that commands care and love. That same essential value is still within you, untouched by the successes and failures of your life. It is the bedrock of your being, not the decorations you hang on its walls. This belief creates a foundation of self-respect that is completely immune to external events. When you internalize this truth, a critical comment no longer feels like an attack on your core self. It becomes feedback on a specific action, a piece of data you can evaluate without letting it define you. You can listen, assess, and discard what is not useful, all while your fundamental self-respect remains solid and unmoved. Social rejection loses its terrifying power. The approval of others becomes a pleasant addition, like sunshine on a warm day, but not the source of your warmth. You carry your own sun within you. Your self-worth is no longer held hostage by the opinions of people who do not know your whole story. This is the ultimate liberation. It allows you to take bold risks because failure cannot diminish you. It allows you to accept criticism with grace because it does not threaten your identity. It allows you to love more freely because you are not seeking validation from others to fill a hole in yourself. You are already whole. Your journey is not about becoming worthy, but about remembering the worth that was always there, learning to act in alignment with it, and letting that silent, unchangeable truth guide your every step through a noisy world that has forgotten what real value looks like. An archer draws the bowstring back, their focus narrowed to a single point. They control their stance, their breath, the steady release of their fingers. They can do everything perfectly, yet a sudden gust of wind can still send the arrow veering off course. The Stoics used this exact analogy to illustrate a life-changing distinction, the separation between your process and your outcome. This is the wisdom of our 18th affirmation. I focus on the process, not the outcome. Your domain, the only thing you truly command, is your own effort, your intention, your dedication to the task at hand. The final result, however, is influenced by 1,000 factors outside your control, from the actions of other people to simple luck. When you tie your sense of worth and peace to that unpredictable outcome, you hand over your silent power to the chaos of the world. You become anxious, desperate, and brittle, but when you pour your entire being into the quality of your effort, you reclaim that power. You find a deep, sustainable joy in the work itself, and you meet whatever result arrives with a calm equanimity. Think of preparing for a crucial job interview. The outcome, whether you get the offer or not, is not entirely in your hands. You cannot control who the other candidates are, the hiring manager's personal biases, or the company's secret internal budget shift. If you fixate on that outcome, the entire process becomes a source of gut-wrenching anxiety. Every practice question feels like a life or death test, and your self-worth is on the line. Now shift your focus to the process. Your domain is your preparation. You can research the company thoroughly, practice your answers with a friend, and choose your attire with care. You can walk into that interview room focused on being genuinely engaged, articulate, and present. When your goal is to execute your process to the best of your ability, the experience transforms. The pressure dissolves, replaced by a quiet confidence. You have done your part, and you can accept the final decision, whatever it may be, without it defining you. This mindset is the ultimate antidote to performance anxiety. It turns every challenge into a personal workshop for excellence. The writer learns to love the daily discipline of writing, regardless of whether the book becomes a bestseller. The athlete learns to cherish the grueling training sessions, regardless of whether they win the gold medal. The outcome becomes a secondary consideration, a potential bonus, while the primary reward is the person you become through your committed, focused effort. Your silent power grows from this unwavering commitment to the present action, freeing you from the tyranny of a future you can never fully command. The day ahead is a locked door, and you already hold the key. This 19th affirmation, "I am prepared for whatever today may bring," unlocks a powerful Stoic exercise known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is not a practice of dwelling on the negative or expecting the worst to happen. It is a strategic rehearsal for reality, a way to inoculate your mind against the shock and disorientation of life's inevitable disruptions. By walking through potential challenges in the safe theater of your imagination, you ensure that when you face them in real life, you do so not with panic but with a calm and ready mind. Imagine you are about to leave for an important meeting. Instead of just hoping for a smooth drive, you take a moment to vividly picture the scenario of a massive traffic jam. You see the sea of red taillights, you hear the blaring horns, you feel the initial surge of frustration in your chest. Then, in that imagined space, you practice your response. You take a deep breath. You recall that this delay is outside your control, but your reaction is not. You put on an interesting podcast. You use the time to organize your thoughts. You accept the situation with equanimity. You have just transformed a potential crisis into a managed event. This is the essence of premeditatio malorum. You are not attracting bad luck, you are building emotional calluses. You are preparing for the friction of the day so that it cannot burn you. Apply this to a difficult conversation you are anticipating. Mentally rehearse the other person reacting with anger or dismissal. Feel the sting of their words in your mind first, then practice your stoic response. You remain calm, you listen, you speak only what is necessary, true, and kind. By facing this potential conflict in advance, you drain it of its power to hijack your emotions in the moment. You walk into that room already composed because you have already lived through the worst-case scenario in a space where you are always in control. This practice turns anxiety into preparedness. The vague, gnawing worry about a project setback becomes a specific mental contingency plan. You ask yourself, what will I do if the client says no? What is my first step if the data is flawed? By answering these questions in advance, you replace the helplessness of fear with the agency of a plan. You are no longer a passive victim of circumstances, but a resourceful commander ready to deploy a strategy you have already drafted. This is how you lead your day with silent power, not by controlling every event, but by ensuring that no event can ever truly control you. The relentless chase for more is a thief of your peace. This 20th affirmation, "I find wealth in my own enoughness," is your declaration of independence from that exhausting cycle. Stoicism introduces a revolutionary idea of wealth, one that has nothing to do with your bank balance and everything to do with your mindset. It is the concept of sufficiency, the profound realization that true riches are found not in acquiring more, but in fully wanting what you already possess. The marketplace of modern life is designed to make you feel a constant sense of lack, to see your life as a collection of problems that only new purchases can solve. But this affirmation reframes your entire existence, shifting your focus from what is missing to the staggering abundance that is already here. Your enoughness is not a distant goal to be reached, it is a present reality to be recognized. To feel this shift viscerally, let us do a simple but powerful exercise. Find a quiet moment and take out a pen and paper, or simply close your eyes and bring your attention inward. We are going to take an inventory of your non-material wealth. Start with the foundation, your physical health. consider the miracle of your body, the heart that beats without your command, the lungs that draw breath, the eyes that allow you to see the face of someone you love. Think of your mind, your ability to reason, to learn, to solve complex problems, to appreciate a beautiful piece of music. Now move to your relationships. List the people, past and present, who have shown you kindness, who have laughed with you, who have offered a hand when you needed it most. These connections are a form of currency more valuable than any stock portfolio. Finally, consider your abilities and experiences, your capacity for joy, your resilience in the face of past hardships, the skills you have honed over years of practice, the simple freedom to walk in a park or read a book. As you mentally list these riches, feel the weight of them. This is not a theoretical exercise, it is an audit of your true net worth. The feeling that arises is not one of smug satisfaction, but of deep, humbling gratitude. You realize that you are already living in a state of abundance that a king from centuries past could scarcely have imagined. You have access to knowledge, to art, to connection that would have been unimaginable to most of human history. This is the wealth that can never be taken from you, the fortune that exists entirely within the walls of your own inner citadel. When you internalize this, the need for constant comparison evaporates. The neighbor's new car or the colleague's promotion loses its power to make you feel small because you are too busy counting your own vast and personal treasures. Your silent power here is the quiet confidence of a person who is no longer shopping for their identity. You are already whole, already rich, already enough. Your mind is not a broadcasting station, it is an antenna waiting to receive a signal. The 21st affirmation, I listen to understand, not to reply, transforms every conversation from a potential battlefield into a field of discovery. This is the Stoic virtue of listening as a profound act of silent power, a deliberate shift from an ego-driven monologue to a genuine, empathetic dialogue. Most of us enter conversations not with open curiosity, but with a hidden agenda, our minds busily crafting our next point while the other person is still speaking. We are waiting for our turn to talk, to impress, to correct, or to convince. This is not listening, it is simply reloading. The affirmation I listen to understand dismantles this entire mechanism. It redirects your focus from defending your own position to exploring the landscape of another person's perspective. The physical posture of an active listener is the outer expression of this inner commitment. It begins with maintaining soft, steady eye contact, which signals to the other person that they have your full attention, that in this moment their words are the most important thing in the room. It involves withholding the impulse to interrupt, even when you disagree or think you know what they will say next. This act of restraint is a silent declaration that their complete thought is more valuable than your partial reaction. Finally, it culminates in the simple, powerful practice of reflecting back what you heard. This does not mean parroting their words, but summarizing the core of their message in your own language. You might say, so if I am understanding you correctly, you felt overlooked when the decision was made without your input. This single step performs a miracle. It confirms you are truly listening. It gives them a chance to clarify any misunderstanding, and it builds a bridge of trust that transforms the entire dynamic of the conversation. Imagine a colleague is venting their frustration about a project. The ego-driven listener is already planning a defense or offering a quick fix. The Stoic listener, however, simply creates a container of quiet attention. They listen not just to the words, but to the emotion behind them. They hear the fear of failure beneath the anger, the desire for recognition beneath the criticism. By listening to understand, you are no longer just collecting information, you are connecting with a human being. You learn more about their motivations, their fears, and their unique perspective on the world. This practice turns every interaction into a masterclass in human nature, and in that understanding, you find a quiet power that no hasty reply could ever provide. Your mind's greatest instrument requires more than just mental upkeep. It demands physical stewardship. The 22nd affirmation grounds your silent power in a tangible reality. My body is a tool for my mind and I care for it. The Stoics saw the human form not as an object for decoration or a source of shame, but as the essential vehicle for your rational faculty. It is the ship that carries your consciousness across the ocean of life. To neglect its upkeep is to risk your entire journey for the sake of a rusty hull or tattered sails. This commitment is a form of profound self-respect, a promise to provide your mind with the stable, well-maintained platform it needs to operate with clarity and strength. When you are sleep-deprived, your mind is trying to command a vessel that is running on fumes, sluggish and prone to errors in judgment. When you are fueled by processed junk, you are asking your brain to perform its highest functions on low-grade fuel, creating a fog that obscures your perception and weakens your resolve. And when you are sedentary, you are allowing the very machinery that supports your cognitive function to atrophy, reducing its capacity to manage stress and sustain focus. Caring for your body is not a vanity project. It is the foundational maintenance required for your silent power to flourish. Think of a master craftsman and their favorite chisel. They do not admire it for its polished handle or its shiny blade alone. They keep it sharp because a dull tool cannot execute their vision with precision. They oil the hinge so the movement remains fluid and responsive. They store it carefully so it is ready for the next day's work. This is the relationship you are meant to have with your own body. Your daily choices about sleep, nutrition, and movement are not about sculpting an image for others to admire, but about honing the primary instrument you use to navigate and influence your world. The Roman world that Marcus Aurelius ruled was one of physical hardship and endurance. He could not afford the luxury of a weak or ailing body when leading legions or governing a vast empire. In his private writings, he frequently reminded himself of the connection between physical discipline and mental fortitude. He saw the body's needs as simple and fulfilling them as a duty, not an indulgence. This is the Stoic secret: to see a good night's sleep not as laziness but as strategic recharging, to see a nourishing meal not as a pleasure but as essential refueling, to see physical movement not as a chore but as the necessary upkeep of your command center. When you treat your body with this kind of purposeful respect, you are not just building muscle or losing weight, you are reinforcing the very vessel of your will, ensuring it can carry you through any storm with unwavering resilience and quiet, steady power. A clenched fist cannot receive a gift, and a mind that refuses to release what it cannot change has no room for peace. This is the practical wisdom of our 23rd affirmation: I release what I cannot change. You may recognize its echo in the famous Serenity Prayer, a modern plea with deep Stoic roots that asks for the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is not a passive surrender, but a strategic reallocation of your most precious resource, your mental and emotional energy. Every moment you spend fretting over a past mistake, resenting another person's opinion, or raging against a traffic jam is energy poured into a bottomless pit. The affirmation, I release what I cannot change, is the decision to stop pouring, to cap that well of wasted effort and redirect your focus to the areas of your life where your effort actually matters. This practice builds what can only be called emotional efficiency, a state where your inner resources are invested, not just spent. To build this skill, try a simple but powerful evening ritual. As your day winds down, take a notebook and draw a vertical line down the center of a page. On the left side, write what I cannot change. On the right, write what I can change. Now, mentally review your day and list your frustrations. That rude email from a client goes on the left because you cannot control their attitude or their words. The rainy weather that ruined your outdoor plans goes on the left. The opinion a relative holds about your life choices goes firmly on the left. Then look to the right column. Your response to that email, that is yours to control. You can choose a calm, professional reply. your decision to find a pleasant indoor activity that is yours to control. Your commitment to living by your own values despite outside criticism that is entirely within your power. The act of physically writing these down and sorting them is a neurological event. You are training your brain to make this distinction automatically. You are not just thinking about release, you are performing the act of release by consciously moving a worry from the active category of your concerns to the archived category of life's unchangeable conditions. This practice transforms vague anxiety into clear, actionable boundaries. The frustration is no longer a fog that surrounds you, but a specific item you have identified, classified, and dealt with. You close the notebook, and in that symbolic gesture, you release the left column to the universe. You are free. Your energy is now concentrated, laser-like, on the right column, on the things you can actually influence. This is the heart of silent power, the wisdom to stop wrestling with ghosts and to start building with the materials you have been given. Real power does not need to raise its voice. The 24th affirmation, I lead by example, not by command, crystallizes the essence of Stoic leadership, a model of influence that is quiet, virtuous, and profoundly magnetic. This is the ultimate expression of the silent power you have been building, where your actions speak with such clarity and integrity that commands become unnecessary. The tyrant, the insecure leader, relies on volume, threats, and the coercive force of their title. Their power is external, brittle, and inspires only fear or compliance. The Stoic leader, however, cultivates an authority that emanates from within, inspiring loyalty and respect through the unwavering consistency of their character. They understand that the most powerful command is a lived principle, a standard you embody so completely that others willingly choose to rise to meet it. History offers a masterclass in this quiet authority. Consider the leadership of Abraham Lincoln during the American Civil War, a man who faced more pressure and vitriol than perhaps any other American president. He did not lead by berating his generals or demanding loyalty through intimidation. Instead, he led by enduring immense personal suffering without losing his compassion, by listening to conflicting counsel with profound patience, and by holding fast to his ethical convictions even when it was politically inconvenient. His example of resilience and moral clarity became the unspoken standard for the entire Union effort, earning him a deep, enduring loyalty that no decree could ever manufacture. In the modern business world, this principle is just as transformative. Picture a team leader facing a project crisis. The command-based leader might storm into the room, demanding longer hours and assigning blame, creating a climate of anxiety and resentment. The Stoic leader, grounded in their practice, enters the same room with calm composure. They acknowledge the problem without panic, take personal responsibility for their part in it, and then roll up their sleeves to work alongside their team on the solution. They do not command respect, they demonstrate it through their own hard work, their fairness, and their unwavering focus on what is right, not who is right. Their team is not motivated by fear of punishment, but by admiration and a shared sense of purpose. They follow because they want to, not because they have to. This is the silent power of leading by example. It means your life becomes your argument. When you practice the affirmations you have learned, when you control your perceptions, own your mistakes, and speak with kindness, you are not just improving your own life. You are casting a quiet vote for a better way to live, and others will see that vote and be inspired to cast their own. Your calm in a crisis becomes a lesson in emotional regulation for everyone in the room. Your integrity in a difficult negotiation becomes a masterclass in character. You lead by silently showing what is possible, creating a legacy of influence that is built not on the sand of authority, but on the bedrock of example. The final affirmation brings you full circle, back to the silent source of all your power. In silence, I find my greatest strength is not a retreat from the world, but a return to your command center. This is the Stoic practice of intentional solitude, a deliberate withdrawal into quiet reflection to reconnect with the core self that observes, discerns, and chooses without the static of external opinion. It is in these moments of pure, unbroken quiet that the 24 affirmations you have learned cease to be words and become the very texture of your being. The world constantly pulls your attention outward toward notifications, conversations, and endless demands. Your silent power depends on your courage to periodically turn that attention completely inward, to listen to the one voice that matters most, your own inner wisdom. This is not about spending hours in meditation, though that is a powerful practice. It is about seeding your day with small oases of deliberate quiet. Before you open your laptop in the morning, sit for just 60 seconds in total silence, letting the affirmations wash over you. I control my perceptions. My inner citadel is unassailable. In the lull between meetings, instead of reaching for your phone, close your eyes and take 3 conscious breaths, reconnecting with the truth that your peace is not for sale. During your evening walk, leave the headphones at home and simply be with the rhythm of your steps and the sounds of the world, releasing what you cannot change. Each of these moments is a stitch in the fabric of your resilience, a quiet rebellion against the noise that seeks to scatter your focus. In this sanctuary of your own making, you remember who you are beneath all the roles you play. You are not your job title, your possessions, or your latest success. You are the silent, aware presence that can observe it all with calm equanimity. This is where your affirmations transform from mental exercises into lived reality. This is where you touch the timeless strength that has always been there, waiting for you to get quiet enough to hear its whisper. This entire journey has been a quiet revolution for your mind. You have not been learning to be silent, but to be still at your center while everything else moves. Silent power is the unshakable confidence that comes from a mind trained in virtue, a will disciplined by principle, and a spirit anchored in what is truly its own. These 25 affirmations are the tools you now possess to build that reality every single day. You do not need to master them all at once. The most profound changes begin with a single, focused step. For the next week, choose just 1 or 2 of these affirmations that speak most deeply to your current life. Carry them with you, write them on a note card, set them as a reminder on your phone, and let them be the quiet question you ask yourself before you react. Which of these truths will you use to shape your week? Your silent power is not a theory, it is a practice waiting for your decision. Share in the comments which affirmation resonated most with you and how you plan to use it to lead with your own silent power.